Hi everyone. So in this video, we will tackle the next test, which is just checking on this instance name that we have created one or two videos ago, which is basically for the order. And I just wanted to show you how to verify that as well, because here you can potentially also write some logic that potentially could break. So let's actually take a look. So here we have this injection mechanism. In order to verify that this in fact actually works, let's just write a particular test case for that. And since this is for the order class, I will just go ahead and say this will be the order instance name test. And probably we do not need a lot of the stuff that is currently present here. So let me just get rid of this. And so our test case would be, we want to verify that this particular instance name is actually a valid one. So I think the precondition or the given part would be the order contains customer and order date perhaps you can directly say expect instance name contains formatted values. Okay, so let's actually take a look. So we will create an object here of type order. So this should be fine. These validations we don't actually need anymore. So this is just the class I renamed it to be now called validations. So not that you get confused. And actually, since we don't need that actually anymore, so let's get rid of this one since it's not used. Okay. So then what we can do is to first say we want to have an order date, which is, for example, today, and then we want to have a customer. So this, let's create a variable here for now, and then just say set first name is just give it some names here, last name, and then we set this this particular customer to the order, and the verification that we want to do is to say basically that we want to have this instance name. And now how do we get this instance name actually? So this is something so theoretically we could call this method directly because it is actually a method, but then we would have in this test case to pass in those parameters itself. And since we want to check if the injection mechanism actually works correctly, so this is a little bit going into the wrong direction here. But luckily there is a bean that actually allows us to do that, which is called metadata tools. In fact, actually we use this very bean in the implementation of this getInstanceName method of the order, because we want also to have the instance name of the customer. So this means we can here say getInstanceName of the order, and then is basically just checking if it is equal to, and then we could say and here it's a little bit interesting. Let's just write something there. Most likely it will fail, so let's give it a try on how the result actually looks. Okay, so this is a little bit unexpected that it didn't or that it failed with this particular error message. Let's actually take a look into this method here and go, sorry, not the getInstanceName, but actually we want to debug into this thing. And let me just run that here and see why this is actually failing. So the exception was quite generic, that it was not able to create a particular instance name of this order object, but we don't know really why. So perhaps we can run those things in isolation here and see if this actually works. Yeah, okay, so this correctly returns the instance name of the customer. And if we run this particular thing, which should format our date, okay, so then we get actually an exception in in this particular sub method here for this format local date. And the reason is that in order to format the local date to the current user, we have to have a current user in our execution. Otherwise, it doesn't really know on how to format this particular date, given which locale we have set and so on. So this means, yeah, and why the error message that appeared in our test is a little bit different, because it just says it cannot get the instance name, but this is most likely because this, so we could look into this. So somewhere where this is actually invoked, so here we have this metadata tools get instance name, and then it delegates to this instance name provider, and here it does some catch some exceptions and just converts that into this particular one. Okay, so this means let's just go ahead in our test case and say that we will actually say that this is the instance name, and what we additionally need in order to verify on that is then, let's go with the system authenticator once again, and here we can wrap that just into the system in the system metadata, I'm sorry, in the system lambda, and so then we get back the instance name of the order. Okay, so this should already help, hopefully. Let's take a look if this now works. Okay, so it didn't really work, but the error message is exactly what I was hoping for, that it's just a different value that comes back here. And perhaps you might ask why we actually use the system authenticator once again, because a couple of videos ago we introduced this multi-tenancy and this tenant user environment and so on. So I think this just comes here because here right now we don't have database interaction. So we just create the data manager and the objects here in memory and just interact with those. And therefore we actually do not interact as this in this context of this tenant, because we have not set the corresponding annotation. So if we would go to this product storage test, most likely we will, let's clean up our imports here a little bit. Here we have this tenant user environment. I mean, we could also do this because then it would just assume this particular user. Perhaps it's actually a better idea to do it like this in order to actually perform this authentication instead of wrapping this here once again. So let's run that and see if the error message is still the same. Yeah, and for this error message to actually checking on this particular, okay, so the error message is still the same, so it's fine. In order to check here for the right value, actually I was thinking that perhaps it's not good to check on today, because the problem with time-based values in tests is that the next whatever you write there then breaks when the next day comes. So this means what we can, for example, do is to say local date and then parse, and here we can then pass in this value, and then it should probably be this formatted way. So let's actually so like this. Let's see if the test works. Yes, it does. Okay, so with that, I think we are actually now done. And we actually, in fact, not only verified that the instance name is correct for the order, but implicitly we also verified that the instance name of the customer is correct, because in this order method, we actually delegate to the instance name of the customer. So this means here we have also a particular logic. I think it's just a combination exactly of those two attributes. So yeah, we have now tested that implicitly together with the test for the order, but I think this is totally fine. Okay, so then we don't need this anymore. And with that, I think we have finished our test case. And we can push that to the GitHub and see what the result will be. So this means the last remaining test that we want to tackle is to just check if the order can be stored correctly, and then we are done with this whole data model part. Okay, thanks for watching, and then see you next time.